Today is the day, guys. It's the Mars-Uranus North Node conjunction in Taurus that I have not shut up about literally since 2022 started. So let's get into why it's so important. And I'm going to give you guys a little astrological history lesson on the last time this happened, what happens every time it comes around, and what I'm expecting for this time. So it's probably going to be more than one part. I've used this example before, but let's imagine these planets as three different friends, right? Mars is a very aggressive planet. It's literally the planet of war. It's very action-oriented, and it's very fiery. Uranus is your very unstable, unpredictable friend. You never know what she's going to do. She's a little chaotic, but it really rules things like technology, social media, people at large, unexpected events. And the North Node isn't a planet, it's an astrological marker. However, it rules the idea of God or, where we're supposed to be headed. It's very fated events. So putting those three things together adds a lot of intensity for unexpected events, unexpected or unpredictable war-like energy, and things that needed to happen, but, coming about in a very aggressive, unpredictable way. This is an exact conjunction, meaning all of them are going to be at the same degree, kind of bouncing energy off of each other, intensifying one another, and it's all going to be happening in the sign of Taurus. 18 degrees in astrology does have this reputation of being referred to as the diabolical degree, which is often like things being extra hard or very volatile for the person that has this in their natal chart. I have it in my natal chart. If you have it, don't worry about it. It's not something to lose sleep over. However, it is just a Virgo degree, and it can often refer to things like order, health, organization. So whenever I talk about transits like this, I always try to think back to when I didn't fully understand astrology, and I would see other astrologers being like, this crazy major event that hasn't happened in 1,000 years is coming about. And obviously we see a lot of that on TikTok because people got to make their coin, unfortunately, and they do that through fear mongering and scaring the shit out of you. The truth is, this is a very rare transit to have all three of these in Taurus all together at the same time. We do have a Uranus and Mars conjunction about every 2 years, and then we do have a Uranus and North Node conjunction about every 18 years or so. And to my understanding, upon doing my own research, the three of these have not been together in over 2,000 years. So the best way to really understand astrology and to not lose your shit over a transit is to look back in history to where it's already happened. That way you can kind of collect some context clues and use that as evidence to predict what's going to happen this time around. Like I said previously, Mars and Uranus meet up about every 2 years, and the last few years that we've been seeing it happening, at least in the US, has been pretty volatile and chaotic. Within the last few years of this happening, we've seen Trump declare a national state of emergency because of something regarding the border. We've seen the Capitol riots, and we've also seen people up in flames over Biden entering office after a so-called rigged election. This is going to be a few parts. You gotta go watch part 2. Part 2 of the Mars-Uranus North Node conjunction. The next thing that we need to look at is the nodes and the last time that they were in Scorpio and Taurus and what that means in general. The nodes are simply an astrological marker in the sky. There's a whole story to it, but mainly the thing that we want to focus on, the South Node, is past life energy, things that we've mastered, things we want to get away from in our best interest, and the North Node is where we're being headed, where we're being guided, but where there can be an almost obsession over that area of the chart that it's in. The nodes transit into each sign for about 1.5 years or so, so it takes about 18 years to get around the entire zodiacal wheel. However, we need to talk about what Scorpio and Taurus means. The axis of those two signs are sister signs, meaning while they're completely opposite, they're also completely the same, and they rule things like intensity, security, secrets, money, finances, values, government, investments, ownership, and needing to destroy things in order to build a stronger foundation within them. And that is the lesson within having the nodes in Scorpio and Taurus this year for everybody collectively. Of course, in your personal chart, it's going to change for everybody what that meaning is, but it's really about destroying the things that hide under the surface, that are not authentic, that are not stable, and having this big Tower card tarot moment of destroying all those things in order to rebuild a stable foundation that isn't so prone to crumbling down within itself. I even wrote a Patreon article about what this looks like for us culturally, socially, and fashion and things like that, because the last time that we had the nodes in Scorpio and Taurus was in 2003, 2004. Really fun article for me to write. It is linked in my bio if you want to read it, but it talks more so about fashion and culture and society and how we're seeing the grunge, gothic, cybercore type of aesthetic arising again. But the real tea comes from looking at what the hell was happening in the US at that time, and we were actually dealing with the SARS epidemic. We saw the dot-com bubble burst, which was a lot of people and companies investing in technology companies and, internet stocks and things like that, and then seeing the crash and fall of people, I assume, trying to short the market. We had the largest power blackout in history, and Facebook was also created. So we're seeing a theme of crisis, particularly financial crisis, which was present again with the North and the South Node being in Scorpio and Taurus in the US for the stock market crash in 1929. So what does this all sound very familiar to? If we think about what we're dealing with now and how those things kind of correlate to the themes that I just mentioned, let's list a few things that we keep seeing repeating every time the North Node is in Scorpio and Taurus for the US. We are post-tragedy, similarly to being post-9/11, we're post-COVID. Instead of the SARS epidemic, we're clearly still dealing with COVID, but monkeypox is up and coming, baby. We're clearly entering a recession in a very incredibly painfully bear market after seeing the crypto crash of it being pumped and dumped over and over again and the Bitcoin bubble bursting. So watch part 3. Part 3, Mars, Uranus, Neptune conjunction. So to fully understand what's going on in the sky, we also have to take into the context the fact that America also had its Pluto return this year. It already happened on 2/22/22 actually. However, Pluto is now retrograde, which is furthering the destruction of power and control dynamics in the area of our charts that Capricorn rules. For the US, it happens to be on the axis that is traditionally ruled by Taurus versus Scorpio, which is the 2nd house versus the 8th house, sex, death, secrets, transformation, money, investments, government, ownership, possession, control, etc. I have to gas myself that if you really want to understand all of this at like a very intricate level, you have to subscribe to my Patreon, because this article was killer in terms of how this is going to affect us financially and just in the long term of our country. Pretty much a big tarot tower card moment, big wrecking ball coming in to destroy anything that's no longer working for our country, and a lot of secrets coming out. And that's a totally different TikTok, but I think that we've been seeing that in the news. Everything is kind of crashing and burning within itself, which is very much what a Pluto return represents. On top of that, all of this is happening in Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign. It's very grounded. It literally rules things like nature, money, security, and I have my notes written down that I felt like this was particularly going to affect women, which we were seeing with Roe v. Wade during the eclipse in Taurus, because Taurus is ruled by Venus and Venus rules women, but also technology shutdowns, insane weather things, so like major floods, major fires, especially because Mars is involved in the mix, which is literally unexpected, unpredictable fires, unexpected, unpredictable war. Getting our basic needs met, having struggles with that. Bank or government shutdowns, we had that a few years ago in the US where we literally weren't able to access like certain things like the bank or mail and things like that. It's also ruling the 6th house in America's chart, and the 6th house is about servitude, work, jobs, health. So to have this insane, totally unexpected, widespread type of energy, very unstable coming in, I feel like really does refer to monkeypox. Like, I don't know, I feel like there might be a shutdown with that or something, which if we gotta do, we gotta do it. But basically, to no surprise, I feel like we're either going to take the route of insane weather that might cause power outages again, or might have people out of work or having to do a shutdown, or a financial crisis in terms of the fact that we're entering recession and they need to like inflate things and people aren't going to have access to their basic needs getting met. I doubt this is going to be one moment on just today. It's probably going to be the unraveling of events over months to come. However, the eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio are going to be happening again in late fall, so October, November, similarly to the ones that we had in April and May, which is when we first saw the drafts of Roe v. Wade being leaked. It's nothing to lose sleep over, because I don't believe in worrying about things that haven't happened yet, but it's good to be aware of these things in order to navigate accordingly.